This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Monday, June 26th, 2023. We're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I have my weekly chat with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Glisan. We also have a check of that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, we're joined by Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, what have we seen going on in the grain markets today?
Well, we've seen in wheat and corn, we've seen a lot of up and downward movement, almost like you're on a seesaw. Corn was up about 11 cents at one point in time and then went back down lower again. It was closing lower. Wheat was really strong overnight. And that was based off of that situation over in Russia. And that lost its luster after time went through the system as well and closed lower. Soybeans were able to hold higher. But when we looked at export inspections today, none of that was very good to the market. Corn was at 21.4 million bushels. That was down 11.3 million bushels from a week ago. That's pretty negative to that market because we've been seeing slower demand anyway. Beans were at 5.2 million bushels. That was down 1.4 million bushels from the previous week. And wheat was 7.5 million bushels, down 1.2 million bushels from the previous week. So none of that is helping the market per se. So in essence, you can look at the fundamental side of the market where you're the balancing of, okay, we have slower demand. We may see lower production this year. It's still too early yet to tell how much production we lost. So that's all the stuff rolling around in the traders' minds. On top of that is the ever-changing weather forecasts. You know, we put moisture in, they take moisture out, they put moisture back in again. And that's just the weather market we're in right now, and probably enhanced weather market because of the dryness that we've been seeing with so much of the grain belt, corn belt being as dry as it is. Now, interestingly enough, the Commitment of Traders report that showed funds flipping their positions in corn. There are 66,601 long positions right now in futures only. So the funds bought 64,206 long positions on the previous week. The Commitment of Traders report is reporting. So that's a big flip as far as where they were net short about a month ago by quite a bit. That's showing the idea of the funds that there is going to be more of an issue in this market. They're not heavily long that or short that market anymore like they had been for a while. So that can leave quite a bit of volatility back and forth. Now, on the soybean side, they're net long 83,413 contracts, futures contracts. So they've been holding some long positions for quite some time. There's still a concern over the Black Sea corridor, whether that's going to be renewed and how that's going to go forward. So that is going to probably keep somewhat of a lid on the wheat market, no matter what else happens out there to some extent. Now, we know we have the quarterly grain stocks and acreage report coming out on Thursday, and we are seeing estimates, at least right now, from the average of analysts at 91.9 million acres for corn, 87.7 for soybeans, and wheat at 49.1 million. That's the estimates from the average of the trade estimates right now. So we're going to continue to see it's just constantly a weather market. We're going to see that as we move out through the year, and that's probably the overriding factor that's going to dictate most of the trading as we move through this week.
All right, Robin, what do we see on the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex today?
Well, first of all, cattle opened up as we thought it would because of the bearish aspect of the cattle on feed report. And it was a surprise on the cattle on feed report because we saw the placements in May up 5% from a year ago at 105%. The estimate was 101.1% or 101.7%. So that was even above the average trade estimate as far as the placements were concerned. That was the bearish aspect to the market. Marketings were 2% higher, but we saw the cattle on feed 3% lower than the previous year at 97%. So the bearish aspect was the placements, but yet the market opened up that way. But then as it traded during the day, it found some legs under it and started moving higher. So we really didn't feel the full impact of that. Some of that might have been because of, the lower prices moving into this report. Now, feeder cattle, they left an island bottom last week for 2 days. And even with the weakness earlier this morning, they did not close that gap in there. So the island bottom is still intact. So usually the island bottom is a stronger technical position. But on the live cattle side, the concern that we're looking at there is that we could possibly see lower cash this week. I mean, the northern dress trade last week was $6 lower. Southern lives were $2 lower. We are seeing a little pullback on some of the cutouts. I should say not cutouts, but boxed beef. Choice was down $1.35 today. Select down 26 cents. Now, looking back at a historical chart, the choice cutouts seem to have really peaked right now based on what's going on. And if you look back on the 3-year history, it's almost identical. And at this point in time, only a month earlier, according to the 3-year history, choice cutouts peaked and then they fell backwards. And we might be seeing that same situation right now, as I think demand seems to be impacted. We seem to see packers pulling back more on their cash, and they're looking at probably using the cattle on feed report and the weakness in boxed beef to probably bid lower cash this week. Now, on the hog side, hogs have been strong. The national direct today was up 440. We've been seeing packers come out of the gate early in the week, aggressively looking for hogs. That indicates we might be seeing some tighter numbers out there. Cutouts are up $1.25 at the midday report. Commitment of traders, though, is really interesting, as what they did was they really flipped as far as the hogs were concerned. They had been records in the hog market about a month ago, and now they're actually long 7,819 contracts. Last week alone, they bought 13,665 contracts, according to the commitment of traders. So they have really changed, and part of that change is probably because of the Prop 12 that was supposed to come into effect July 1st being now pushed back about 6 months. So now we're just focusing on the increasing demand, and that's on the back burner. So the market is seeing more strength and more support being put underneath.
Lots of great information today, Robin. For those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
They can call me directly if they'd like at 877-256-3253, or they can go to our website, agmarket.net. The phone number's there. They can call in, and anybody that's available will be able to pick up and talk with them.
Thanks for taking the time to visit with us, as always, Robin, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon.
All right, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
That again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. July corn is up 6.5 at $6.37 1/4. December new crop up 1/4 cent at $5.88 1/4. July soybeans up 26.5 at $15.21 even. November new crop up 13 even at $13.23 even. July soybean meal up 3.90 at $4.14.60. Soybean oil up 1.57 at $59.51. Chicago wheat down 9 even at $7.24 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 2.5 at $8.62 1/4. Kansas City hard red wheat up 7.5 at $8.66 1/2. July oats up 5 3/4 at $3.91 1/4. On the Merc, August live cattle down 17 at 170.60. August feeders down 27 at 233.67. July lean hogs up 212 at 93.40. August pork cutout up 75 at 98.87. July Class 3 milk down 48 at 14.87. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I'll talk with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Well, today I had my weekly chat with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan, and really the story is still the same. We need those timely rains to come in, and we're not sure if we're going to get them quite yet. And we're back again this week with another chat with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan for a check of the U.S. Drought Monitor and just what's been going on in the state recently. Now, first off, Justin, how is that monitor looking this week?
Hey, Riley, good to be with you. So we've seen expansion and degradation across the state. Now we have 83% of Iowa in D1 to D3 conditions. There was an introduction of D3 drought across southeastern Iowa, where we've seen drought or precipitation deficits really start to stack up along with this rapid onset drought that we've been in. So warmer conditions, lower dew points, drier air masses, a lack of wind, appreciable lack of wind, but overall, these are the conditions in which we see these longer-term precipitation deficits reemerging, and that's where we see that D3 extreme drought being reintroduced into southeastern Iowa. More extent in western Iowa, where we have the driest part of the state. So overall, we haven't seen improvement, degradation. We did see good rainfalls over the weekend, but overall, again, drought conditions continue to persist.
And like we were just talking about before this, I said those storms kind of went over the Des Moines area, and I could see them off north. But those areas need it the most, and it's kind of funny that even we're in D0 drought here. We're kind of the oasis compared to the rest of the state. We've had those rains recently.
Yes, there's a bullseye across central Iowa in which we're in D0. So absence of drought, abnormally dry conditions where we've seen precipitation deficits over the last 30 to 60 days, but by no means as dry as where we see drought across the rest of the state. If you look at the map that was released last Thursday, 99% of the state is D0 to D3. We just happen to be in the Des Moines metro and surrounding areas in a slightly wetter patch.
Right, and then just looking forward to possible rains coming through the state again. I mean, are we seeing those storm systems, especially with El Nino, which has been going through the southern parts of the country? Is any of that going to start flowing up here possibly?
We have seen in the modeling not a significant shift in the pattern, but we have seen a more active storm track. We've seen a wavier jet stream, and the jet stream has shifted somewhat north. It's been south of us for a good extended period of time where we've seen these blocking high pressures that have just stymied any kind of weather patterns across the state and across the Midwest. The Corn Belt has been appreciably dry over the last several weeks. So overall, looking at the outlooks, we do see that wetter signal existing, and we've seen a shift towards that wetter signal over the last several iterations of the short-term outlooks. So we're not going to get into drought busters by any means, but we do see a more active storm track getting into July. These slightly warmer temperatures, anywhere from a degree or two above average over the last 7 days, but seasonable across the the last 30 to 45 days, have really helped mitigate the expansion of drought that we could have seen if we see these 90s and 95-degree temperatures day after day in the absence of rainfall. So if we look at those outlooks getting into early July, near normal temperatures and an elevated signal for wetter conditions.
Now, you've mentioned a lot recently, too, of the atmosphere being so dry, and then it's pulling the moisture from the soil, and that's been contributing a lot to the dry conditions in the soil. Is the atmosphere still looking drier on that trend, or is it finally getting some of that moisture back so that we can, possibly retain the moisture that we're getting?
We have seen an uptick in relative humidity. So it's definitely been warmer air masses hold more water vapor. And we've seen a shift in the flow for more southerly flow out of the Gulf of Mexico. And that's where we've seen rising dew points. And these dew points were able to feed the thunderstorms that we saw Saturday and Sunday. So we've definitely seen a shift from those really dry air masses. When you talk about dew points being in the 40s, that allows temperatures to dip down into the 40s overnight. So we've cooled down overnight, and we've seen those temperature rise into the 80s and 90s. And that's just a manifestation of the high pressure system, the return flow, easterly flow that we've been seeing that's pushing in these drier air masses. So yes, we have seen a shift for more relative humidity, and we kind of, you could feel that late last week with the heat indices that we saw.
And then I just took a look at some of the state forecasts, and in the western parts, they're seeing a little bit of haze still. Is that coming through from Canadian wildfire smoke? Is that still kind of passing through the states?
It is. The wildfires in Canada cover about 8.5 million acres, and a lot of those fires have gone unmitigated. They haven't been put out. So we still see this wildfire smoke given we're on the backside of a low pressure system. So we're seeing that smoke funneled in as the flow goes counterclockwise. So we should expect haze over the next several days, given the configuration we're in. But we do see over the next several days chances of thunderstorms, possibly some strong to severe storms on Wednesday. These storms help wash out that smoke that we see up in the upper levels. But yes, when you have 8.5 million acres on fire in Canada, the expectation, if you get into a circulation regime that can bring that smoke down, we're going to definitely see it.
And then, of course, with those chances for storms, how can farmers get in touch if they need to report some moisture levels into the soil?
Yes, so moisture levels and dryness are very important right now, given the scale of drought that we see across the states. We would like to match up the on-the-ground observations with what we see in the modeling. So my direct office line is 515-281-8981. My email is justin.glisan@iowaagriculture.gov. And if you Google Iowa Climatology Bureau, it'll bring you to our website with all my contact information. So please send those reports in so we can get a more accurate depiction of the drought to the U.S. Drought Monitor author each week.
Thanks for the time, as always, Justin, and we'll talk with you again next week.
Thanks, Riley.
That again was Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. And speaking of the weather, let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, we are holding out for those rains, but not sure if we're going to see them quite yet because it's just looking to be regular summer days for the next couple days at least. Now, like Dr. Glisan said, we could see some chances for storms on Wednesday, but you never know with those forecasts how they'll shape up when we get to that day, actually. So let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, today we have mostly to partly sunny skies with a chance for scattered showers and hazy skies in the west, those highs ranging from the upper 70s to mid-80s. Tonight will be mostly clear, lows ranging from the mid-50s to about 60, and tomorrow variably sunny skies across most of the state. That haze in the southwest will give way to scattered showers later on, highs ranging from the mid to upper 80s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be mostly sunny with a high around 85. Shenandoah, that haze will give way to scattered showers with a high around 87. Des Moines, sunny in 86. Waterloo, sunny in 86 as well. Albia, sunny in 87. Clinton will be sunny in 86 for a high. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and you can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free twice daily market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.